Hello, and welcome to Los Angeles Sports Central. I'm Avi Shulkoff, and joined by my co-hosts Jonathan Rifkin, Andrew Scholar, and T. Schneider. We will break down and discuss the major topics that are surrounding the Los Angeles sports world.
Yes, tonight we'll discuss if the Clippers can make a run in the playoffs, as well as how the injury of Kobe Bryant will affect the Lakers, assuming they make the postseason.
In addition, we will speak about Mike Scioscia and if he should be retained as the Angels manager. Meanwhile, in Chavez Ravine, why aren't the Dodgers hitting?
And finally, we will give you a recap of LA sports from this past week.
Ray of Clinton, in comes Sellers, and down the Oval.
We're gonna make a million times and just popped.
Pretty big shooting pain going up the forearm and stuff, and I kind of figured something was wrong.
Up goes Russell, heads it back across goal, and the Galaxy have their game-tying goal.
You are watching Los Angeles Sports Central.
To start off the conversation, can the Clippers make a run in the playoffs? I really think they can because of bench production. Jamal Crawford is one of the best six-men in the NBA. He averages more points than any other six-man, of course, opposed to J.R. Smith, who's Eastern Conference. He has more three-point attempts and three-pointers made. And he also, his overall versatility is very intricate. Matt Barnes is another key part of the production. His defensive integrity can definitely help them make a push.
Also, I have to say, if Chauncey Billups comes back, he can be a great part of this run because he has experience from the 2004 Pistons, and I was a team that didn't have a lot of stars, and this team, it could be a lot better than that Piston team. So you never know.
But this team does have a lot of stars.
And also,
Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan.
What I think you guys are overlooking the most, though, is what you just said, Jonathan. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the star of their team. He pretty much makes everyone come together. And I think as a leader, Chris Paul makes the team better. Him on the court just gives everyone more confidence and makes their ability to play better.
And you have Eric Bledsoe as the backup. He's
He's a great defender. And also, the leadership on the Clippers is unquestionable. They have Grant Hill, who's been in the league for 18 years, 19 years, something like that. And Caron Butler's been in the league for a while, Chauncey Billups, and then Chris Paul, probably the best leader in the point guard position.
And you have Blake Griffin emerging as a leader.
And then also, the Clippers, they have a very, tragic history. They've always been the second tier team to the Lakers, and now this year, the Lakers, they're struggling. The Clippers have finally taken over. And if Chris Paul chooses to stay next year, they can build a whole dynasty.
Yeah, this is their opportunity. I don't know. Well, the Lakers are going to be back. That's not a question. The Lakers are having an off period. So it's the Clippers' time to grasp hold of LA, even though LA will always be a Lakers city. But the Clippers to gain more of a foothold and to have their tenure as one of the, if not the best team in Los Angeles.
I think another big part, is Vinny Del Negro as the coach. I know Coach of the Year candidate. He's been in the league forever, played San Antonio, and he played under Greg Popovich, who's one of the best coaches of all time. And I think that he knows what it takes. Last year you saw in the playoffs, you saw a little bit of stint of that, but they're definitely a lot more mature and they're a lot better, and they know what it takes to get a championship.
Also, one guy you're really overlooking, I think, is DeAndre Jordan. He's really improved from over last season. His rebounds are up, his blocks are up. He's really getting the job done on defense.
And especially, they're going to play Memphis or Golden State. And if they do, DeAndre Jordan's been averaging, 18 points and has more points than he's played. He's having 8 points on the season. That's 10 more points. He's having 11 rebounds. I really think that he's going to be the key factor if they do play Memphis in the playoffs.
Do you think it would be better for the Clippers to play against the Warriors or the Grizzlies?
More Warriors for sure. The Warriors. Mark Jackson's a new coach. Stephen Curry, Chris Paul and Stephen Curry will be a substantial matchup. Stephen Curry's fast, fertile. 47 points the other night. He really can make it. It'll be a great matchup.
I actually think that the Clippers would be better off playing the Grizzlies because it'll be a grinded-out series. The Clippers have a bunch of older players.
The Clippers are 2-1 against the Grizzlies in the regular season.
Yeah, they have a bunch of older players, so I think the slower pace, as opposed to when they're playing Golden State, better fits what they want to be doing.
Blake Griffin could get into trouble with Zach Randolph.
Zebo's a tough man.
Yeah, and Marcus Gasol will give DeAndre Jordan problems, obviously.
But that's a different story.
I think, just to close this conversation, I really think that the Clippers, I don't think that they'll win the championship, but I really think that they can make it to the Western Conference Finals to give Oklahoma City a run for their money.
I think this year is the Clippers are ready to take another leap, and then next year, if they can continue to improve and get more chemistry, players gain more experience, then they may be able to take that leap to championship.
So, to conclude, how do you guys think the Clippers will finish this year?
I personally think the Clippers will make it far. I don't know entirely how far, maybe the conference championship, but they have the bases. They have the experience. They have better defense than they had last year, and they have overall leaders on their team that they needed.
I think that they will win their first round matchup and lose either to Oklahoma City or San Antonio, because those teams are just head and shoulders above everybody else.
I think that leadership is definitely the biggest part of the playoffs. You can tell, Miami last year, the biggest part, the reason they won was, they only had the big three really as their team, and they won because of the leadership. And I really think that since the Clippers do have an amazing leadership and an amazing coach and amazing staff, that they can go far and they can give the top tier teams, San Antonio and Oklahoma City, a run for their money.
Speaking about that other LA team, let's talk about the Lakers and Kobe and his terrible injury that he suffered on Friday night's game against Golden State. It was just a terrible injury that he suffered, and I wish him the best. But, I think that this could be motivation that the Lakers need
Kevin Ware
in the postseason. Like, this can be the factor that leads Dwight and Powell to say, we got to win this. And who knows what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you on certain stuff where it could be a motivation for Powell and Dwight, but I don't believe that will happen. I believe without Kobe in the lineup, they will fall when they need someone in the heat of the moment and in the pressure situations. Like, who else did they give the ball to besides Kobe when there's 4 seconds left on the clock and they need the shot? They give it to Kobe.
Dwight Howard also has improved himself this season. He's got all his numbers are down,
But
except for his free throw shooting.
See, that's why I think he'll step up, because
I don't think
he sees an absence.
I don't think his integrity will allow him. He's been so far Kobe and him. Kobe's been his stepping stone. Kobe's been the guy to feed the ball. Him and Pau Gasol have been feeding him the ball, and that's it. Without Kobe, you just have Pau Gasol.
Unless someone on the bench steps up, which I have no idea who that'll be or who would step up as much, I don't think they'll make the
Well, the biggest fault of the Lakers is their bench. Their bench production is
Antoine Davis has been really good this season, and so has Jody. Jody Duke's been decent.
I mean, also, I think also
Yeah,
is that it's kind of hard to imagine how the Lakers are going to survive playing
Oklahoma City
for so long. But think about it. Next year he comes back mid-season.
I think he's coming back. He'll be ready for the season opener.
I personally think Kobe's done.
I think the Lakers will amnesty him. They save $7 million. They can re-sign Dwight Howard, and they can get another pick.
I think
they can sign Josh Smith, because Josh Smith's contract is going to be up.
Yeah, but they have a power forward and center. What they really need, they need a guard. They need young guards, and they need to draft people.
Well then, as you guys were saying,
Lakers couldn't figure out. I mean, that's just.
I think
they should go for a lottery.
I think Kobe's
year they should just go rebuild.
I think Kobe's absence will be a good thing for next year's team, because some of the pieces around or that have been taking lesser roles will learn how to step up and play together in a way, gaining valuable playoff experience. I think they'll make the playoffs in the process.
So my question to you then, Andrew, is if you think next year they'll do well, what do you think about this year? Will they even make the playoffs this year?
I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think maybe they'll win a game at home.
All they need is a game.
Nah, they're not winning a series, obviously, after Kobe's injury.
And if they do make the playoffs, they're playing Oklahoma City.
Or San Antonio.
There's no one to answer Kevin Durant back on scoring.
Yeah,
you have Meta World Peace.
Meta World Peace just came back off a torn meniscus. There's no way he's going to play it off.
Personally, I didn't think they could beat Oklahoma City without Kobe. With Kobe.
When he got injured, it was a really close game. And Louisville players, they were just feeling confused and sad and depressed. But then they stepped up to the challenge and they won it for him. And it was just a great all-around game. and won championship.
Kevin Ware was not Louisville's best player. Kobe Bryant is the Lakers' best
And
player.
you have
It's totally different.
Kobe Bryant also is the Lakers. When you think of Lakers, you think of Kobe Bryant.
Kobe's the coach. D'Antoni is not the coach of the Lakers. Kobe Bryant is
That
the
is
coach
a
of the
great
Lakers.
point, Jonathan. And if he comes back to the bench to be a coach,
Which
a coach can only do so much. The players on the court have to step up and have to do it. So if they step up, maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they win a game or two. If they don't step up, I don't even think they make the playoffs.
I agree 100%, and I think to close this, we can say that Kobe will be back, whether as a coach or as a player, and it remains to be seen. His story is not finished.
And last thing, not really, kind of really related, but I hope Derek Fisher, once he retires, will come back and coach on the Lakers bench.
You know, that'd be very interesting to see Kobe and Fish together
As
coach the
coaches,
Lakers. That'll be
that'll be an interesting season. An interesting
Good
team.
luck to the Lakers. Now switching over to baseball. Is it time to get rid of Mike Scioscia? Are the Angels in search of a new manager? Should they be? Well, personally, I think they should give Mike Scioscia another little chance. He's had all these chances in the past and it hasn't really succeeded. But he has the players now this year to go and take the Angels back to the postseason. They have Josh Hamilton. Even though he's having a slow start, they still have him and he will emerge like Pujols.
He's batting 179.
Yes, but like Pujols last year, Pujols didn't do very well. But when he emerged, their team as a whole built together. Plus, they had Rookie of the Year Mike Trout coming back. And even though he might not do the same production as he did last year, he'll still do very well.
You know, I have to disagree. The Angels have not reached the playoffs since 2009, and they've signed Albert Pujols and Josh Hamilton, and they've also had the emergence of Mike Trout.
In trouble.
Yeah,
And how Taylor's doing pretty well right now.
and I think that Scioscia should have been fired when Jerry Dipoto was hired, because when he was hired, it was the signal of a new transition in the Angels organization, because Bill Stone and Tony Regans, they had been in the Angels organization beforehand, and this was an outside source being hired, and he planned on doing things completely differently than the others had. But Mike Scioscia had chosen to focus on pitching and defense, and Dipoto clearly has focused on hitting. So that doesn't really mix well, and that's why, especially after this horrid start, absolutely horrid.
Horrible.
It's
bad. It's terrible. They just need something to change here. And I'm comparing this Angel start to the Lakers. Their start at the beginning of the year, they were 0-8 in the preseason, and they just had a terrible start.
What I'd like to say is that you bring up a good point where the Angels and Mike Scioscia really want to focus on pitching. Their problem now is pitching.
They lost their best pitcher.
Exactly, they lost their best pitcher, Jared Weaver, which will really hurt them for the next season.
But I think they're focusing on pitching, but at the same time they know their hitting is down. I mean, 255 batting average as a team in the start of the season. They've stolen 7 bases.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's hanging. The problem is that Scioscia has been a longest team manager. I believe that he is longest in Major League Baseball.
I think it's the player's fault.
I think they need to acquire another starting pitcher.
That's a good idea.
Joe Blanton, he's not very good. They don't really have any
Yeah,
in their minds. Their best, they have
what-
one top 100 ESPN pitching prospect, not pitching, in Caleb Coward. Besides that, there's not really anyone else that's really good in their minor league system that other organizations would want. So I don't really see how they're able to acquire the pitching needed to replace Joe Blanton, Tommy Hanson. I'm not
Jason Vargas.
too confident with about. And Vargas, he's shown that he can be a solid back-end starter.
But they don't have their bullpen production is going to be down.
Well, the bullpen production's down, but they have the guys who have the talent. I know Scott Downs, I like the guy, he's doing terrible. I believe that Scott Downs really needs to step up his game, but he can. He showed that last year. He had bad, but now he did well again.
And also, Brian Madsen, who's going to be their closer, is on the disabled list right now. And Frieri will go to be the situational setup man with Downs, and Brian Madsen will be put back in the closing position, so that'll make reasonable difference.
Switching back to offense, I really think that Josh Hamilton, looking back at his numbers last year, amazing year. I think that he's having a little bit of the Albert Pujols disease, where starting off not too well, but then he's going to pick it up. But I mean, 179 batting average in the first 10 games.
Josh
179 in the first 10 games.
Think about it, though. Josh Hamilton, he's trying to do too much. Just like Pujols, like what you said last year, Pujols tried to do so much.
And then,
when he relaxed and just got cool.
Pujols switched from a national. Also, he made the transition national to American. That's not the transition. When in that point in career, Josh Hamilton was on Texas.
Josh Hamilton, that's a rival. That's a rival.
I think also the problem is that in the first 6 games, Josh Hamilton was playing the Reds and the Rangers, which were both of his older teams, in their home stadiums. So I think that was also attributed to the fact that he wasn't doing well.
He got booed in Texas.
Yes.
I saw this. I'm sure we all seen the story where his wife had to call, felt that she had to call security because in Texas because he was stealing.
That's true, but I respect the guy. I like the guy, but Josh Hamilton needs to find his zone and find it quick. He needs to learn that he has guys around him that can hit and that he doesn't have to do everything. Like I saw one game.
I mean, I think he's fine.
But I think his setting isn't so much different than in Texas where Nelson Cruz and Adrian Beltre. I think those two, between Mike Trout and Albert Pujols, that's in offensive wise, that's the same setting.
Yeah,
just a little bit less power, but he doesn't feel like he has that support yet.
No, but the thing about him is, I agree with you. He doesn't feel like he has the support. He's trying to do too much. The one time I saw his game in Texas after he got booed, but he got booed for a good reason. He was swinging at a pitch that literally bounced at his foot in the outside and the other batting spots, and he swung at it. I don't know if he expected to hit it or just wanted to swing it. Maybe he was going golf. I have no idea. But that's
so back to the social question. Here's why I think they should get rid of it. Do you guys remember Mike Napoli? He's in the Red Sox now.
Yeah, first base in the Red Sox.
Yeah,
great player.
So pretty much he was on the Angels and he did great. He had 230, but he had 25 homers. Okay, but the Angels got rid of him because Mike Scioscia did not like him and because he couldn't play the field.
Yeah.
Now he's hit 20 home runs. I don't know how many seasons, a couple seasons, and the Angels got Vernon Wells for him, who's now on the Yankees.
And is not producing at all for his contract.
He wasn't producing in LA, but he's producing in New York better. Wells was a bad player though, but really I think what comes down to
his contract.
His contract.
I don't think he doesn't deserve that.
I agree with you guys, but what really is the difference between Scioscia getting fired or Scioscia not getting fired is if the team can produce and go to the playoffs. I personally believe if he doesn't step up this year and he's making an improvement, he should be fired. I agree with that. I just think that we should give him a one itty-bitty more chance.
Who should they replace if they fire him?
That's
Joe Madden. They need to bring back
Joe Madden.
Bring back Joe Madden. But if you think about it, Joe Madden went and
Joe Torre can come back.
I think Joe Torre is pretty happy in this position.
Yeah. Joe Madden was hired by the Rays in November of 2005. Okay? So his first year as manager was 2006. So the Angels have, since Joe Madden's departure, they made the playoffs in 2007, did not make it in 2008.
They made it in 2009.
They made it in 2009, and have not, and nothing since then. So
Joe Madden,
you can say he has no effect, but look what he's done with the Rays since he's been.
And he's gonna continue. I don't think he's
one of the worst ball clubs before he came in the
majors. He made Tropicana Field too much nicer field through him. He really did turn the team around. Their pitching,
brings more fans.
They bring more fans. James Shields. He played spectacular for the first couple of seasons.
And David Price.
He really knows. Joe Madden really knows how to work with the up and coming prospects as they go into the.
I just think that
David Price, Matt Moore, Longoria he came up when he was starting.
No, but especially in his first, from 2005 to 2008, that division was a tough division to play in. He did turn that team around.
Yeah, but getting back to Mike Scioscia and should he be fired, should he not be? I think it really depends on in the next roughly 3 to 5 weeks before Weaver can get back, if someone can step up. If someone like C.J. Wilson, who's been looking for the spotlight and needs to step up, steps up and brings Angels back within like 10 games when Weaver comes back of the first place, Weaver will come back in and he will step up.
Well, Weaver's going to have to work himself back into the rotation.
Yes, but he'll go back.
He's doing pitching. He's doing pitching. I don't know what the word is. He's doing pitching practices. Yeah, rehab.
I think Socha should be given until game 81, which is half of the season. And the Angels are relatively close, within a few games, to whoever's leading the division, and I think Socha should be made the manager for the
Angels
rest of the season.
They're not going to fire him without having a guy.
I actually agree with what you're saying. Give him a little chance until like the All-Star break, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of maybe what I said with 10 games, maybe if they're 3, 4, 5.
So Mike Socha has 70 games to turn around.
If they're within striking distance, I think he should remain for the rest of the season.
I agree.
What do you know striking distance? Above 500?
Well, no, it seems back.
I would say I think they should be at least 41 and 40, above 500, and be within no less than 5 games away from whoever's leading the division.
I think to be 5 games back, they need to at least be 45.
Yeah, at least 45.
So, to finish up, how do you guys think the Angels will do this season? I personally think they'll make a run at the playoffs, but I think that Socha will be gone.
So I think maybe not this year they'll make the playoffs because they'll try to make a run like last year, but they'll fall up short. So maybe 2014 will be their year to finally go back to the
I think every team tries to make a run for the playoffs, but I think that they're going to start rebuilding. I think Socha's going to be gone after this year. They can keep him a whole year, and then he's going to be gone, no matter what their record is. I think it's time for a change. They need a new face in LA and Anaheim. And I really think that by 2015, 2016, they'll make a playoffs. I don't think they're going to have a World Series in them until a little bit later. But if they can get more prospects, more pitching prospects, and a better bullpen, they can definitely make a run for it.
I think the Angels will make a serious run to the wild card, but ultimately fall short. And like Jonathan, I agree, Socha will remain manager for the rest of the season, but this will be his last one.
Okay.
On to the other LA team, the Dodgers, the one who spent even more money to acquire top-tier talent than the Angels, or what they thought was top-tier talent. They've been really struggling with the bats this season. They have a combined .255 team batting average, and Matt Kemp, their best player, is really struggling. He's batting under 200. And they're also missing Hanley Ramirez, who hurt his thumb in the World Baseball Classic.
Which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Very unfortunate.
But yeah, they need him. No wonder Uribe really stepped up the other night. Timed that game with a home run. That's an upside for them.
That's true.
That's an upside.
You can't count on Uribe to do much of anything.
That's pretty.
And I don't like he's extremely overpaid. He shouldn't even really be playing in this baseball league. He should go like Matt Kemp is also really struggling. The Dodgers' best player. He's hitting under 200 thus far. We're also missing Hanley Ramirez. Hurt himself in the World Baseball Classic.
It's a real loss for them.
Yeah, that's a real loss.
I think Kemp will obviously start hitting better sooner than later, and Hanley Ramirez will come back. So I think their hitting will improve, but it's just a matter of them staying healthy because Carl Crawford has a history of injuries.
He's been doing pretty well though.
Yeah,
It's a good plus.
He's batting 410.
He's a shaky apart, but it's good.
He's great. He's been one of the best
He's
players.
after missing most of the season last year, he's really come back from rehab and after being traded from the Red Sox, and he's
done well.
He's lost weight. He's throwing farther. He's really playing his position well.
Yeah, Hanley Ramirez also is injured right now. He has his history of injuries. Matt Kemp has been injured during his career at times.
Another disappointment, Hanley Ramirez is a backup Justin Sellers who probably wouldn't have made the team. Batting 194, and that's hardly a replacement for Hanley. They probably could have found someone better in AAA or even AA. No offense to Seller fans, but I really don't think that his production will help the Dodgers at all.
Instead of Justin Sellers, I think the Dodgers should have D. Gordon play shortstop instead because he gives them the upside of his speed, he's athletic, and
Yes, he's very athletic.
Speed player.
Mm-hmm. So far, the Dodgers pitching staff has been has them the winning record at 7-4, and they have a really deep pitching staff with Greinke and Kershaw at the top.
Unfortunately,
Right now,
he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos.
You know, and
Not for a while.
of course, as always, because of pitching, you always have to bring up Clinton Kershaw.
Always
Cy Young.
Nothing's probably going to end again this year.
He's a candidate for Cy Young in the National League every year
Since he started.
Exactly.
The Dodgers are averaging around 3 runs a game.
That's not going to
But yeah, it's not going to win games. It's obviously going to get better. They should be averaging 4.5 runs a game by the time the season's over, considering their lineup. So I think they'll start hitting soon. Whether they can drive run, they've been hitting decently in terms of getting hits, but in terms of driving runners in, it's been iffy. Not very good thus far. And so the hitting will get better. The pitching will keep them contending until the hitting gets up to par.
The thing about the
someone
pitching,
who's always overshadowed on the Dodgers is Andre Ethier. Like, especially now that they have Cam,
He was one of the first,
Gonzalez, and Crawford. Like,
respect the Dodgers.
he's always overshadowed, and just, I mean,
Yeah,
and he always puts up
batting 297 this year. Yeah, 11 games.
decent numbers.
I think that Magic Johnson needs to find other prospects to bring up because they need people on the bench that they
no,
can
but you guys are overlooking someone really important who can step up in Greinke's absence. Ryu, the guy they signed.
I agree.
The guy they signed this offseason. He did really well in his debut, and he can be this guy that the Dodgers want him to be.
And also Josh Beckett, he's
definitely
not as good as he
Obviously, he's declining, but
for a middle to a back end starter, he's solid.
And
they also have
he's
Chad Billingsley. Also have Chris Capuano, who was starting for them last year. He was very good at times. He'll step in now that Greinke's out, and the pitching will be solid. The hitting will be solid. Hopefully, they won't get too far back before the hitting.
I think Matt Kemp will definitely step up. He knows.
Finally, to wrap this up, I think that the Dodgers team will get better, especially as some players come back like Hanley Ramirez. So they shouldn't worry about that. And even though Greinke might be hurt, they have the pitching staff and the bullpen to deal with it.
And Luis Cruz at third base, he's batting even worse than Kemp this season so far. But luckily, unlike the Angels, the Dodgers have good prospects. They have a pitcher named Zach Lee, who's really good. They can flip him for a third baseman if needed. So their hitting will improve, and they can also acquire new players to improve.
I think they have a budget to make a trade.
What you're saying about Lee? What if the Angels they traded Kayaspo for Lee? How do you think that would work?
Well, that's interesting, but I don't think they want Albert.
I don't think they need
I think for Lee, they can get a better.
Yeah, but the Dodgers team will. Overall, they will.
No, after the season, they're definitely going to have enough. They're going to need assets, and they're definitely going to have that budget to get more assets. And I think this year they're just going to have to get through this year, and then next year I definitely think that they can be a postseason team.
Also, this year it's kind of a win now mode.
Yeah,
and
that's what Magic is.
With
Magic is win
with
now.
the Dodgers, they spent so much money. Their payrolls way north of $200 million this season. People get a year older. People like Crawford, Ramirez.
And let's be honest, with the payroll that they have now, they're pretty much expected to at least go to the NL Championship Series. I mean, not the World Series.
If they can get their hitting up, they can get their bullpen to start.
At minimum, they should make the playoffs. As NL West champ, not even the wild card. They should win the division with the team that they have, and they should advance pretty far into the playoffs.
When you look at their division, they don't have much competition.
The Giants.
Yeah, the Giants, the big competition. The Rockies can always surprise.
No, the Rockies. Their pitching is pretty bad.
And the Padres are.
Their lineup isn't good.
We'll see.
Their pitching really. Arizona.
Arizona's could be a surprise.
Could surprise a few people, but I don't think.
I think the Dodgers are edge out the Giants.
So it's basically a two-team race between the Dodgers and the Giants.
So in conclusion, I believe that the Dodgers team will eventually, as soon as Hanley goes back and people actually start hitting, will rise and get better and better.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers will definitely start producing in the next couple of weeks. Their hitting will improve. When Grady comes back, their bullpen will start producing more.
Their bullpen.
Their starting rotation, my bad. Will start producing more, and I think that they do have the coaches that can carry
Yeah,
that.
Don Mattingly is a very good coach.
He's a great coach,
And
he's improving.
He will be one of the best in.
So that's definitely LA baseball is going to be a little bit different for a little while, but I definitely think that we could have 2 teams in the playoffs, in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and maybe in a couple of years we might have a freeway series.
All right. Okay. And now the top plays in LA from the last week.
The replay, and they got him on the arm. Now Quentin walks and breaks into a run. Greinke collides with him. A.J. Ellis grabs Quentin. In comes Sellers and down the order.
Our hearts and our prayers are with those who were affected by the Boston bombing.